Many of today's adults, who are otherwise capable of handling sophisticated modern devices, are united by a contemporary malady: sledgehammer anxiety. I feel like I'm going to break it. The old ways still work for me. This is where technology leaves me behind. Are the most common chants of the sledgehammer phobe. Much of this initial fear comes from a failure to understand just how it works. By attaching a quote-unquote heavy-weighted slug to a truncated supercystoid, a disproportionate fulcrum is created. In other words, if you're a TV set showing Regis promoting a diet book, and you're in a room with an angry, unpublished poet holding a sledgehammer, watch out. The novice sledgehammerer, from the German Sledgehammer am Ding Dong, must be familiar with a few terms. Thunk, the sound the quote-unquote clanker makes, street term for quote-unquote heavy-weighted slug, makes when wielded against the quote-unquote stuff. See next. Stuff, things that are to be wanged. See next. Wang, the impact of the clanker and the stuff. Smithereens, the result of being wanged. Many people are surprised to find that the sledgehammer has only one moving part. It. Yet, should I buy now or wait for the new models? Is a refrain often heard from the panicky first-timer, who forgets the number of sledgehammer innovations in the last 3,000 years can be counted on one finger. There are currently only two types of the sledgehammer on the market: the 3-foot stick with a lead weight on the end, called the quote-unquote normal, and the new model, currently being beta tested, which is a 3-foot stick with a lead weight in the middle, called the quote-unquote below normal. But don't let market confusion keep you from getting your feet wet. The longer you wait, the fewer things you will demolish. There is a natural fear of sledgehammers, says the National Sledgehammer and Broken Toe Society, which in response has been charting the most common accidents and offers tips for the sledgehammer's safe use. The over-the-head position, for example, often leads to excruciating lower body pain, caused when the sledgehammer wedges itself between the thighs at the end of the backswing. There's also the self-inflicted back-of-the-head knockout on lateral swings, which is very rare and only afflicts, to the researchers' lingo, quote-unquote really dumb people. There are also cleaning accidents. A home hobbyist in Valdosta, Georgia, reported that he was removing paint from his sledgehammer. It suddenly went out of control and destroyed his living room wall, even though he never let go of its handle. Despite all these drawbacks, the world of the sledgehammer is rife with enthusiasts. I find the sledgehammer very erotic, says Jane Parpadello, who is a stockbroker with Smith Barney, and wants everyone to know her home phone number is listed. I think it's because my father was shaped like a sledgehammer. The long wooden body and the big metal head. Today, when I see a man with that shape, I want to pick him up and swing him against an apartment wall. The Sledgehammer King, Marty Delafangio, whose net worth has been estimated at $42,000, was recently summoned to Congress, before Congress, to defend his reasons for attaching a mandatory web browser to his market-leading product. I smell money to be made, said Delafangio. The combination of a web browser and a Sledgehammer is a natural. Congress disagreed, and now the web browser can only be sold as an option. Although, as a compromise, the powder puff attachment remains. Roustabouts have also noted a sharp increase in Sledgehammer interest. We used to raise a circus tent pretty much on our own, says Toby, a 24-year veteran of Barnum and Bailey. Now I have crazies every morning from the local Sledgehammer club watching me plug a spike. It's a disgusting circus-like atmosphere. One of them interviewed me for his newsletter. I let him take a swing too. He looked like Tinkerbell trying to lift a semi by its hood ornament. But it's not all bad. At least there's an never-ending supply of chicks. Although once some woman tried to pick me up by the ankles and slam me against an apartment wall. In the last 10 years, the Sledgehammer has become into its own, finally recognized for what it is. A tool, a thing, and a heavy object. Hundreds of years from now, when technology has altered the Sledgehammer's appearance into a sleek, digital, aerodynamic uber machine, it will no doubt function as it does today, toppling the mighty and denting the hard.